I would like to show how we can escape from existing boundaries and just to think a little bit, if it's possible to mock a final class or override a final method. Who think if it's possible and who think it's not possible? The proper answer is yes. Of course it's possible because we are really cool engineers and we know how to do it. But from the same time, it can be really simple to not to use a final in order to make our class mockable and to use with PHP unit or maybe extract an interface. But what I really want to show you is a feature called file stream wrapper. And the idea is really simple. In PHP, we have internal handler called file. And we can unregister this stream handler with a stream wrapper and unregister file. After that, we can register our own file handler and create a class which will be responsible for transformation. And this class now can hook into existing PHP source and transform it on the fly by using token get all and IST modification. And we can just simply look for the token final and remove it from our source code. And then return it back to PHP, and PHP will run it and happily create a class without final modifiers at all. And this approach was implemented in several libraries. First of them is DG bypass finals. It really works like as described before. It just removes a final keyword. Also, one of the interesting libraries is Patchwork. It's a method redefinition monkey patching functionality for PHP. Second escape is to utilize stream filters. And we can create a simple test file without anything. We just outputting a hello world. And we can craft a special include with PHP filter. And we can define a transformer, in this case, a string to upper. And give it our file to transform. And what we can see that our code executed and output is uppercase. So we transform it in real time our source code before PHP executes it. And the idea is real simple. So we can register our own stream filter via stream filter register function available in PHP. And we can use this feature for many interesting examples. For example, it can be AOP. It's actually how Go AOP is implemented. We can use it for instrumentation, runtime code analysis, runtime protection. We can create separate files that can be encrypted, and our library can decrypt it in runtime. And we can also use non-standard tricks like to remove final keyword, to create runtime proxies. I think it's a simple part, but let's move on to the interesting part, hacking the PHP engine. I want to put advisory notification because content is really explicit. And what we will use for our manipulation is FFI. It's a new feature available from PHP 7.4. And it provides a functionality to call C functions and to define C structures in runtime in PHP. And this opens a new way how we can create an extension for PHP by binding existing libraries available on a C level to PHP. And what if we want to use PHP FFI to access PHP itself? It's a really interesting idea. And it was implemented in my library called Z-Engine. It's a really new library, and it's built on top of reflection class. So if you know about reflection API, then you will be famous with the reflection class, a reflection method. And it provides low-level binding to low-level structures in PHP itself, called, for example, zval, then class entry, then function, etc. And it provides an API to manipulate PHP itself in runtime. But if you are familiar, if you change anything in memory of PHP in runtime, you should always expect segmentation faults and memory leaks, so it's not production ready, but still you should know about possible failures. As an example, let's make an existing final class non-final. What we have is bootstrapping of Z-engine library with a core init method call. Then we have a special reflection class created, and we can see that we are calling only setFinalFalse to make our existing final class non-final. And after that, it's possible to create children classes, and they will be extending final class, which is impossible in traditional PHP. One more example is operator overloading. I think it's one of the interesting features available for extension developers, and we can see how it's implemented. On C level, we have Zend object handlers with handler that receives opcode, result, and first operation and second operation. We can create a library on top of that engine that capable to deliver this feature for PHP, and it hooks existing Zend object do operation handler by providing functionality to multiply matrices, to add them in runtime, and what's more, we can have a hook for comparison. For example, if you want to compare one matrix with another, it's possible with a handler Zend object compare evals. If we look at our interface, it's really simple. On PHP side, we have a do operation interface, and we have an implementation which receives first argument, second, it receives an opcode, and we can define a logic. For example, add, how we can add one matrix with another. This is how it works. And now, finally, it's possible in PHP to make addition of matrix in userland by overloading operators. And when we run it, we will get a beautiful matrix multiplied and handled by our PHP library. Okay, interesting example how to serialize impossible class like closure. We can just, in runtime, add a serialize method to this class and make it serializable, so PHP will truly happy to serialize it, and we will see an output from serialization of first closure in PHP. If we look at deepest level, is it possible for PHP to run machine language and run machine codes on PHP? With that engine, I think it's possible, and I want to present you how it's possible. First, we are just allocating a memory for our method. Then we create an internal structure for PHP called the internal function, and we are just filling some internal information about number of arguments, information that this method should be public, and we just point a row handler to our C function. And then with a specific method call, we create an addition method in our method table and adding a new method to PHP. Let's look at this magic. You can see a small assembly implementation of simple hello world, but we are converting it and creating an internal method that can be executed directly on a CPU without running a PHP interpreter and without running a virtual machine at all. And when we run this method, we will see the first error assembly method in PHP that can produce a hello world for us. It opens a new areas for PHP to access hardware. For example, from PHP, we can access a GPU. We can use powerful extensions on a CPU like SSE or AVX to perform multiplication of matrices or vectors. We can create a new libraries for machine learning because we will have better support from our hardware. And it opens a way to create PHP extensions in PHP itself without deep knowledge of C language. And of course, we can receive a maximum speed comparable to C code. I want to make available for userland like a stable API extension to provide features to manipulate opcodes and make a transformation runtime. And I really want to have a shared object that can survive between several requests.